Leo, listen closely. Something spiritual is about to happen in your bedroom tonight. Not a metaphor. Not wishful thinking. A real shift in your energy is preparing to unfold while you sleep, and it's not a coincidence that you're here right now. Have you ever woken up with the sense that your dream wasn't just a dream? That maybe just maybe something or someone was trying to reach you through the silence of night? If that question stirs something in you, it's because tonight, that very thing is set to happen. Not every message from the universe comes in flashing signs. Some arrive gently, quietly inside the stillness of a room, inside your breath, inside your dreams. That's exactly what's lining up for you, Leo. And not because you chased it, but because you're ready for it. Tonight, as the world around you winds down, a deeper part of you will awaken. A sacred image, a sentence, or even a subtle emotional nudge will visit you. You may not recognize it at first. You might even brush it off. But by morning, you'll notice something feels different. You'll feel guided, whether you can explain it or not. And later in the day, something coincidental will happen to confirm it. That's how divine energy works, subtle, but certain. This isn't about mystery for the sake of drama. It's about recognizing the language of your soul. You've probably been giving a lot to others lately, haven't you? Showing strength, carrying the load, pretending like you're fine while hiding the weight you're actually holding. The universe sees that. More importantly, your own spirit sees it. And it's ready to speak to you. Now, let me be clear, this message isn't here to tell you what to do or who to be. It's not about forcing belief or chasing some magical solution. It's about remembering that you're not walking alone. You were never meant to. And the sign you've been waiting for? It's coming, Leo. Not from the outside. From within. As someone who's worked for years with energy, intuition, astrology, and the sacred patterns that move beneath our everyday lives, I've seen this moment happen countless times. It's rarely loud. It's rarely planned. But it always arrives when you're finally open. And tonight, you are. So before we go deeper, I want to say this from the heart: thank you for being here. Your presence is not just appreciated, it's needed. Every like, every comment, every time you subscribe and stay connected to this community, you help bring more light into a world that desperately needs it. You don't have to do it perfectly. You just have to show up. And you did. If this message speaks to you in any way, even if it's just a feeling you can't quite explain, leave a comment below and let me know. Say, "I'm ready to receive," or "I trust the message in my dream." That's your signal to the universe that you're ready for the next step. Sometimes all it takes is one word, one decision, one whisper at midnight to change the direction of everything. Stay with me, Leo. What's about to be revealed next might not just resonate with you, it might finally make sense of what you've been carrying all along. Let's begin. Last night's dream wasn't random, and the one that's coming tonight won't be either. Leo, the kind of sleep you're entering into is not just about rest. It's a space between worlds, where something unspoken tries to make its way to the surface. When the moon shows up in a reading, especially in alignment with Neptune in the 8th house, it's not just astrology. It's an invitation. A sacred one. And it usually doesn't come twice. See, this isn't just about dreaming. It's about receiving. And the most powerful messages in life often don't come with loud warnings or flashing signs. They come as fragments. A strange image. A familiar face from long ago. A sentence that echoes in your body more than in your ears. And when you wake, the logical mind might dismiss it, but the soul won't. There's a moment, right before waking, where something lingers. You know that feeling? That thin line where you're not sure if you're still dreaming or fully awake? That's where the message hides. And if you're willing to sit in it, even for a minute, just breathe and ask, why did that stay with me? You'll start to see what was trying to reach you. You don't need to decode it like a puzzle. This isn't a test. It's more like a mirror being held up, not to reflect your face, but to reflect something deeper, your state, your direction, your unspoken questions. The dream becomes a map, but only if you're honest enough to admit that you've been searching for one. And maybe you have been searching. Maybe you felt stuck, like you're moving but not going anywhere. Maybe you've been asking for clarity, for guidance, for a sign that your effort means something. Well, this is it. But it won't shout. It will whisper. And it's on you to listen. The spiritual meaning of dreams doesn't always require spiritual belief. Sometimes, it's simply about being still long enough to notice what life is already trying to say. In a world that's constantly moving, mails, deadlines, scrolling, reacting, lose touch with our own inner signals. But at night, when all of that quiets down, the soul finally gets a chance to speak. And here's the thing, what shows up in your dream tonight is likely not new. It's something that has been trying to get your attention for a while, through your body, your emotions, your restlessness. But now, the timing is aligned. The cosmic window is open. The moon and Neptune don't just ask you to rest, they ask you to surrender. Surrender doesn't mean giving up. It means softening. Trusting. Allowing something wiser than your mind to guide you, even if you don't yet understand it. That takes courage. That takes faith. The kind of faith that says, I don't need to see the whole path to take the next step. It reminds me of something I once heard, not in scripture, but in the quiet moments after prayer. Faith is not about answers. It's about trust. And tonight, you are being asked to trust what visits you in your sleep. You don't need to analyze it to death. You just need to let it in. Feel it. Remember it. And when the day breaks and something happens, a phone call, a conversation, a line from a song that matches your dream, you'll know. That wasn't just a dream. That was direction. So tonight, before you go to sleep, take one breath deeper than usual. Turn off your phone a little earlier. Sit at the edge of your bed and say, just once, I'm open. That's all. Nothing fancy. Just open. And if you do remember something in the morning, even if it's vague, even if it's strange, write it down. You'll be surprised how much sense it makes later. Because sometimes, the most sacred instructions don't come from the outside. They rise from the quiet you finally gave yourself permission to feel. Leave a comment when you wake up. Let me know what stayed with you. That's not just for mites, a sign to yourself that you're willing to receive. Sometimes life doesn't wait for us to be ready. It shows up, unexpected, and demands change whether we're in the mood for it or not. Leo, I don't say this to unsettle you, I say it because right now, your chart reflects a deep shift taking shape beneath the surface. With Mercury in retrograde clashing with Uranus, and the Tower card appearing alongside the Nine of Swords, we're not looking at small ripples. We're looking at the kind of inner storm that asks, are you really living the life that's aligned with who you are becoming? This kind of cosmic movement can stir up anxiety, confusion, even exhaustion. You may feel like your energy's being drained by things you can't control. And to be honest, some of it probably is outside your control. A sudden conversation. A truth revealed. An opportunity lost or opened. Something will test your emotional footing. But here's what I want you to know. You're not being punished. You're being redirected. There's a massive difference. What appears to be falling apart is actually falling away. And that's something we forget in the middle of chaos. We confuse disruption with destruction, discomfort with danger. But in astrology and in life, growth almost always begins with friction. The Tower doesn't show up because you've done something wrong. It shows up because something you've been relying on too heavily is no longer sustainable. And while it can feel like the rug's being pulled out from under you, what's really happening is the floor beneath your feet is being replaced with something stronger, something more true. The Nine of Swords tells me you might already sense this. It's that weight that sits on your chest at night. The thoughts that spiral before sleep. The subtle but nagging sense that something is shifting. And guess what? You're right. But you're not powerless. In fact, the dream you're receiving, possibly even tonight, is not just a dream. It's a soft intervention. A private download from your higher wisdom to say, here's what to hold on to. And here's what to finally let go. You don't need to panic. You need to pay attention. The dream is a map. The discomfort is a messenger. And this moment, however difficult it may feel, is here to cleanse, not to break. Real transformation doesn't happen in neat little increments. It arrives in waves. Some wash away what's heavy. Others push you toward the shore you didn't even know you were swimming toward. This part of your story might feel shaky. But shaky doesn't mean wrong. It means alive. It means real. And when you're real with yourself about what you want, about what's not working, about what you've been tolerating quietly for too long, then that's when movement begins. That's when energy opens back up. That's when space is made for something better. I've sat with so many people who've lived through these Tower moments. People who thought the job loss, the breakup, the cancelled plan was the end. But it wasn't. It was a beginning disguised as loss. And when they looked back months later, they saw how it had to happen. Not because they were being tested, but because they were being loved enough to be set free. So if something unexpected arrives this week, breathe. Don't react too fast. Ask yourself, what is this clearing space for? You don't need all the answers right away. You just need to stay open to what the moment is revealing. And trust that even in the discomfort, life isn't abandoning you. It's carving out room for something that actually fits. Stay with it. And stay with yourself. Momentum doesn't always return with fireworks. Sometimes, it slips back into your life like a quiet breath you didn't realize you'd been holding. If you've been feeling stuck lately, uninspired, distracted, even just tired in a way you couldn't explain, you're not alone. And more importantly, you're not broken. What you're experiencing is a pause before a surge, a silence before direction. And that shift, It's already starting. With Jupiter moving into your 10th house, the energy right now isn't just about dreaming bigger. It's about finally moving toward what you know has been calling you. The house of career, purpose, and visibility is lighting up, and Jupiter doesn't whisper. It expands. It breaks open the areas of life where you've been settling, waiting, or tiptoeing, and replaces hesitation with clarity. But not the kind of clarity that screams at you. It's softer. It shows up as a flicker of interest in something you thought you forgot. A quiet idea that just won't go away. Or a gut feeling that says, I should really get back to that. If you've been putting something off, an application, a pitch, a conversation, even just the first page of that thing you've been meaning to start, this is the moment where the weight of waiting begins to feel heavier than the fear of trying. And that's a gift. Because fear doesn't disappear all at once. But it shrinks when the desire for more finally outweighs the comfort of staying still. Leo, you're not someone who's built to live half alive. You may have moments of doubt, everyone does, but deep down, you crave motion. Not just movement for the sake of activity, but forward motion that means something. That feels real. And Jupiter's placement right now is gently nudging you in that direction, like a wind at your back you didn't know was there. You'll feel it in subtle shifts. A conversation that suddenly inspires you. A task you dreaded last week now feels possible. Or a burst of energy that reminds you what it's like to want something again. You don't need a master plan right now. You need permission to begin messy. To begin before you feel ready. To begin simply because you're tired of the version of life that keeps you small. Write the thing down. Speak the idea out loud. Take one concrete step. This is the time when tiny movements matter most because they create momentum. And momentum becomes change. I've seen this happen with clients too many times to count. They sit across from me, hesitant, saying, I think I missed my chance, or, it's too late for me to start over. But that's never true. What's really happening is that they're sensing the energy of expansion but resisting the discomfort that always comes with it. Growth feels unfamiliar before it feels good. And that unfamiliarity is where most people stop. Don't be most people. Be the one who leans in, even if your hands shake a little. This phase you're entering isn't just about external success. It's about realignment. You're not just chasing results, you're returning to what feels true. What makes you feel proud when no one's watching. And more often than not, that kind of realignment starts not with some giant breakthrough, but with a single, consistent whisper, start again. Let yourself begin, even if it's just by admitting to yourself that you're ready. And if you're not sure what to do next, that's okay. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is acknowledge that you're no longer willing to stay where you are. Let that truth be enough for today. And trust that the clarity you need will meet you where you are once you start moving. It's easy to forget yourself when you're always the one holding everything together. Leo, you carry a strength that often becomes your identity, strong for your family, steady in your work, unshakable when others fall apart. But beneath that fire and courage, there's a truth most people miss: even lions get tired. And sometimes, the strongest thing you can do is pause long enough to check in on the version of you that no one sees. We talked earlier about the shift that's happening around you, the energy asking you to move forward, to say yes to something bigger. But here's something that often gets overlooked in that process: you can't pour from an empty cup. Movement is powerful, yes, but not if it's coming from depletion. That's where this next piece matters deeply. Temperance showed up in your reading for a reason. It's a quiet card. Not loud, not dramatic. But it holds sacred wisdom about balance. Not the kind of balance that's rigid or perfectionistic, but the kind that invites you to stop swinging between extremes and come back to your center. And Venus, currently in your sixth house of daily routines, health, and systems, is gently calling you inward to return to your body, your rest, your emotional needs. It's not about self-indulgence. It's about sustainability. About treating yourself not like a machine, but like someone who deserves care, too. Maybe you've been sleeping less, saying yes when your body's screaming no, or staying in spaces that drain you out of guilt or habit. That's not failure. That's survival. But tonight offers a different path. You don't have to change everything all at once. Start small. Get honest with yourself. Ask, when's the last time I did something kind for me without feeling guilty about it? Let tonight be a quiet reset. Not a performance, not a resolution, just a shift in the way you hold yourself. Turn off the noise a little earlier. Sip warm water with lemon before bed. Dim the lights, close your eyes, and just sit with your breath for 10 minutes. Feel what your body's been trying to tell you underneath all the busyness. That you need space. That you need gentleness. That you matter, even when you're not doing anything for anyone else. You're not broken. You're just tired. And healing doesn't have to look like retreats or reinventing your life overnight. Sometimes it begins with a whisper that says, I'm worth slowing down for. And here's something powerful you can do, simple, but not small. Write this sentence on a piece of paper: I will care for myself the way I've cared for others. Tape it to your mirror. Say it out loud in the morning when your eyes are still sleepy. Say it again when you're tempted to skip lunch or push past your limits. Because this isn't just about self-care, it's about self-acknowledgement. And every time you choose yourself, you're not stepping away from your path. You're actually deepening it. People will still need you. Life will still pull on you. But when you're filled up first, you won't give out of emptiness. You'll give from overflow. And that's where the magic begins, not when you're always available, but when you are fully aligned. So take tonight seriously. Not with pressure, but with love. Let it mark the beginning of a new rhythm, one where your energy is honored, your rest is sacred, and your body is finally allowed to be your home again. You're not here to burn out. You're here to shine. But even stars need time to recharge. Let this be that time. Movement isn't always loud. Sometimes, it begins in silence, when you feel the subtle shift in the air, when something that used to fit suddenly doesn't anymore, when the path you've been walking begins to narrow, not because you did something wrong, but because life is gently guiding you somewhere new. That's the energy of the Movimento card. It doesn't demand attention, it simply invites you to notice what's already happening beneath the surface. You may not see it yet, but things are already rearranging. Conversations that once flowed might feel awkward. Plans you were sure about might fall apart. People might quietly drift away, or opportunities might seem to slip through your fingers. It's tempting in moments like this to assume you've lost something. That you're off track. But the truth is, what's falling away was never meant to go with you into what's next. What this card reminds us is that movement isn't always physical. Sometimes it's energetic. Sometimes it's emotional. Sometimes it's a soft internal pull that tells you a chapter is closing, and another one is waiting, but only if you stop clinging to what was. This is not about rushing ahead. It's about staying open while everything slowly repositions itself. You might feel restless. You might want to fix things that don't need fixing. Or you might find yourself grieving something that doesn't make logical sense. That's okay. Part of growth is mourning the version of you that no longer fits the future you're moving toward. When Venus and Mars influence the dynamic tension in your kartas, it becomes less about external validation and more about internal recalibration. You start to ask different questions. Does this still serve me? Do I still want this? Is this still me? Those are brave questions. They invite change. And not everyone around you will understand that. Some will resist the new you. Some will disappear altogether. And that's not a sign of failure. It's a sign that you're aligning more deeply with your truth. Think of it this way: if your life was a room, the universe is now quietly rearranging the furniture, moving out the pieces that take up too much space, making room for something more aligned, more peaceful, more supportive of who you're becoming. It might look messy right now, but that's only because you're in the middle of the shift. The clarity comes after the clearing. If something ends this week, if something you were holding on to begins to slip, take a breath. Instead of fighting the current, say out loud, "I trust the process of realignment." That simple act of surrender can do more to open doors than any effort to force things into place. It's not about doing more. It's about allowing more. This energy asks for your trust, your patience, and your willingness to be placed where you truly belong. You're not being removed. You're being repositioned. You're not being left behind. You're being led forward. Let the disruptions be doorways. Let the detours be divine timing. Let the delay be the space you need to grow roots deeper before blooming again. And if you feel like you're in between worlds right now, no longer who you were, not yet who you're becoming, know that this is sacred ground. Movement is happening. And you, Leo, are exactly where you need to be. Say it to yourself tonight, not as a wish but as a declaration: I allow life to move me towards something better. Say it again in the morning. And again when something uncomfortable unfolds. Let that be your grounding. Not everything needs to make sense right away. But everything is making space. Trust that. Trust yourself. Let it move. Leo, take a breath with me. Just one deep, grounded breath. Because if you've made it to this point in the reading, you didn't just stumble across this message, you followed something, even if you didn't realize it. A pull, a whisper, a quiet curiosity. And now here we are, standing together at the edge of something new. Something you may not be able to fully explain but that you can feel. And that's enough. You don't need to search outside of yourself anymore. The answers you've been seeking, the clarity you've longed for, the reassurance you've silently prayed for, they've been within you all along. Tonight, you're not being asked to chase anything. You're being invited to listen. To turn inward. To trust the way a tree trusts the light even when the sky is still dark. When the lights go out and the noise of the world fades, something else awakens. A deeper knowing. A quiet guide. A part of you that isn't interested in fear or drama, but only in truth. That's what this evening brings you. That's what this moment prepares you for. Maybe it's a dream. Maybe it's just a feeling you can't shake. But one way or another, you'll sense it, a moment of connection so real, it won't feel like imagination. It will feel like recognition. Like remembering who you are and why you're here. And when it comes, because it willn't rush to explain it. Just be with it. Let it settle. Let it speak. And when the timing feels right, ask yourself, what did I feel? What image stayed with me? What part of me feels different now? These aren't questions to solve. They're invitations to grow. If any part of today's message touched something inside you, I invite you to claim it out loud in the comments. Not from a but for yourself. Declare, I saw it. And I believe. Or, I'm ready to step into the light. Or even simply, I trust what's rising within me. Because writing it down is more than just a gesture, it's a signal to the universe, and to your own soul, that you're showing up for what's next. Thank you for sharing this space with me. For giving yourself these few minutes of stillness and reflection. If you found something here that resonated, please don't forget to like the video, subscribe to Eternal Mindfulness, and share this message with someone who might be searching for their own divine nudge in the dark. Every interaction you offer helps us bring more light, more healing, and more clarity into this world, and I'm deeply grateful for your presence. So now, as the night unfolds, let your breath slow. Let your heart open. And let whatever's meant to come through, come. The next chapter doesn't need you to be perfect. It just needs you to be present. Sweet dreams, Leo. May tonight bring you the message you didn't even know you were waiting for, but that your soul has always known.